When life storms hit, they often leave us feeling adrift, weighed down by an invisible burden. We find ourselves trying to shoulder everything alone, believing that strength means carrying immense loads in silence. But true resilience isn't about how much you can bear. It's about learning the profound wisdom of how to unload, one piece at a time. It's about recognizing that even the heaviest burdens are made up of countless smaller weights, and that finding the courage to address each one, no matter how tiny, is the real path to freedom. Stay tuned and listen closely to the story of young Layla. In her struggle, you'll discover a powerful, humble truth that can transform your own overwhelming challenges. You stand to gain not just inspiration, but a clear, relatable path to unload your heaviest burdens, one manageable piece at a time. Her journey, guided by an unexpected wisdom, offers a profound lesson in resilience, self-compassion, and the quiet power of taking small, consistent steps. Before we dive into Layla's story, if you find this message resonates with you, please consider subscribing to our channel. It doesn't cost anything at all, and your support helps us grow and bring you more motivational stories like this. Your encouragement truly goes a long way. The old, faded porch swing creaked under the weight of the afternoon sun. Layla, barely out of her teens, sat hunched, her shoulders rounded as if carrying an invisible load. Her worn, simple cotton dress hung loosely on her thin frame, and her usually bright eyes, now dulled by worry, rarely met anyone's gaze. The familiar sounds of the bustling neighborhood, the cheerful calls of children, the rhythmic clatter from nearby food stalls, the sweet scent of jasmine from climbing vines, now felt like a cruel backdrop to her own silent despair. It had been months since her father, the heart of their home, had passed away, taking with him not just his laughter, but the family's main income. Her mother, already fragile, had taken ill shortly after, leaving her weak and unable to do much. With 7 hungry children, most of whom were still so young, the immense burden to support them all, to somehow find enough for her siblings, pressed down on Layla's shoulders. Their small home felt emptier than usual, not just of joy, but of the very basic necessities. The family kitchen, once filled with the aroma of spices and warm meals, often sat quiet, its pots cold. Layla saw her mother rationing meager portions, felt her younger siblings' innocent, hungry glances, and the constant gnawing worry about how to put food on the table each day was a relentless, cold knot tightening in her stomach. This immense burden of providing, of simply surviving, felt like a crushing weight, a constant pressure on her chest.
To earn anything at all, Layla had even picked up a house help job in a wealthier part of town. She spent long, exhausting hours scrubbing floors and washing clothes, but the pay was so meager, barely covering one day's meals, while the workload was hefty. The exhaustion was constant, yet she couldn't rest. The thought of her sick mother and innocent siblings waiting for her at home only added to her sorrow and the overwhelming load. She felt utterly alone, completely overwhelmed, and too ashamed to ask for help. Across the busy lane, on his own small shaded balcony, sat Uncle Raj. He wasn't just a neighbor. He was a kind, familiar face, often seen sipping chai and reading his newspaper, offering a gentle nod to passers-by. His hands, though marked by time, moved with a familiar calmness as he sifted through his daily mail. His eyes held the gentle wisdom of countless seasons, and he had noticed Layla's quiet distress over the past weeks, the light in her eyes dimming like a flickering lamp. He often saw her sitting on that very porch, her shoulders slumped, lost in thought. This sweltering afternoon, as the air hung heavy with the promise of a monsoon shower, her stillness seemed heavier than usual. It was then that he slowly walked across the lane, his worn sandals barely making a sound, deciding to approach her. He stopped near the edge of her porch, a comforting presence in the stillness. "The afternoon heat sits heavy today, doesn't it, child?" he said, his voice a low, comforting rumble, soft as the rustle of dry leaves. Layla flinched, startled, her gaze fixed on the cracked pavement of the porch floor. She managed a weak nod. "It is. Everything, Uncle Raj."
The house, the food, the children. My mother, she's so weak. I feel like I'm trying to carry the whole world on my back, and I just keep dropping things. A fresh tear escaped, tracing a hot path down her already dusty cheek, mingling with the unshed tears in her eyes. Uncle Raj sighed, a sound that seemed to carry the echo of ancient burdens yet also immense patience. He picked up a smooth, ordinary pebble from the dusty ground near her feet, turning it over slowly in his weathered palm. See this, child? It looks like just a pebble, doesn't it? But imagine if you had to carry 1,000, then 10,000, then 1,000,000 of these every single day. That's what a heavy heart feels like. Each worry, each unspoken fear, each hungry night, each silent struggle. They're all little pebbles adding to your load. He put the pebble back down. When I was younger, I knew what it was to struggle for every meal. My family, we had nothing after a long drought ruined our crops. The fields were barren, our stomachs empty. The shame of not being able to feed my own, the overwhelming task of finding enough to survive day after day. It was a weight that suffocated me. He paused, his gaze distant, remembering. I tried to carry it all myself, in silence, just like you are doing now, and it broke me, little by little. My body was young, but my spirit withered. Layla finally looked up, her tear-filled eyes wide with a mix of surprise and shared pain. What did you do, Uncle Raj? He smiled gently, a hint of deep understanding in it. I learned, slowly and with much bruised wisdom, that no one is meant to carry the whole mountain alone. The secret isn't to suddenly become strong enough to lift the entire burden in one go. The secret is to learn to unload it, one pebble at a time. He leaned forward, his voice softer now. That heavy feeling inside you? That's the core of the burden, but it's made up of many small things. Instead of staring at the whole, overwhelming mountain, the mountain of providing, the endless worry about what tomorrow brings, the stress for your siblings, just look for one pebble you can lift off today. Just one small thing you can take care of, one fear you can speak aloud to your mother, one single effort to find a day's work, a small task for a neighbor, no matter how daunting it seems. Did you manage to find enough for one meal? Did you speak kindly to your siblings, even when you felt tired? Did you reach out to that one distant relative who might help? Did you allow yourself to shed a tear, letting go of a tiny bit of that worry? Each of those is a pebble you've humbly, bravely unloaded. It doesn't make the whole mountain disappear, no. But with each pebble, the load lessens. The air becomes easier to breathe. And over time, those small, persistent acts of letting go, of facing one tiny thing, they begin to make a real difference. They reveal the path to the next pebble, and the next, clearing the way forward. He took her hand, his own calloused but gentle. Don't carry your shame alone, child. Don't carry your worries in silence. Sharing a pebble doesn't make you weak. It means you're wise enough to know that sometimes 2 pairs of hands are better than one. It allows kindness and help to flow in. And remember, even the mightiest rivers are formed by countless small drops, finding their way together. Your strength isn't just in what you can lift, but in what you can humbly, wisely learn to unload, one precious pebble at a time. Layla looked at her own trembling hands, then at Uncle Raj's calm, knowing face. The idea of one pebble suddenly felt less overwhelming, less impossible than trying to lift the entire world. She hadn't realized how much she'd been trying to do just that. A wave of profound exhaustion, but also a fragile sense of hope washed over her. It wouldn't be easy, but maybe, just maybe, she could start by putting down one small pebble today. As the sun began to dip, casting long shadows across the lane, Layla felt a tiny shift within her. That evening, instead of retreating into silent despair, she walked to her mother, her eyes still red, but with a newfound determination. "Mama," she began, her voice soft but steady. "Uncle Raj told me something today. Maybe we don't have to carry everything all at once. "What's one small thing we can do for tomorrow's meal?" And as her mother looked at her, truly looked at her, Layla felt the first, fragile whisper of hope. A tiny pebble lifted, a path, however faint, beginning to emerge for their struggling family. The next morning, a neighbor, having heard whispers of Layla's plight and inspired by her quiet strength, offered her a small, steady job, helping with their tailoring work, a more fitting task that offered a fair wage. It wasn't everything, but it was something, a solid pebble, making the burden a little lighter, giving them a tangible step forward. In a world that constantly demands we carry more, achieve more, and appear effortlessly strong, it's easy to feel crushed by the weight of our burdens. We often believe that true strength means enduring every struggle in silence, tackling every problem alone. But Layla's journey, guided by Uncle Raj's timeless wisdom, reminds us of a different truth. You are not meant to carry the entire mountain on your own. The path to overcoming overwhelming challenges begins not with a colossal effort, but with the quiet courage to address one single thing. It's in the small, consistent acts of facing what you can, speaking what needs to be said, and reaching out for help when you need it. Each pebble you choose to unload, each tiny step you take, lightens your load, clears your path, and builds an unstoppable momentum. Don't underestimate the power of these seemingly small efforts. They are the true architects of change, transforming immense burdens into manageable steps towards freedom and peace. What single pebble are you ready to unload today?